Hello, everybody who might be out there in Twitch land or in YouTube land or in audio podcast land or wherever you're listening to or watching this. I'm Craig Campbell. We are going to play another session of Nowhereville, which is a game that I designed for Nerdburger Games. This is a playtest game that we're doing, a whole little mini campaign. So you're going to see new things being developed as we go, and potentially even changes to characters and rules as we tweak some stuff. One thing we did tweak from last session was I added a rule called impact points. They are a group resource. The character group has one impact point right now because you get one just at the beginning of a story. You also gain one when you successfully complete a story. And then there are other ways to gain them as well. And the group can choose to spend this point to do a number of things. And we're not going to reveal what all of those are right at the moment. But one of the things they can do is to actually get a character to leave the town of Nowhereville. Normally, in Nowhereville, people can't leave. And I've thought about this for those of you asking about, well, what about, you said there's a football, like a high school football team. How do they play away games? Okay, characters can leave, but they can only do it for a few hours at a shot, and they start to feel ill if they wait too long, and they know in their hearts that they must return. And this is blatantly stolen from a Stephen King story. So, yeah, so the characters technically can go. Like you could go shopping in the big city, for a few hours, if you wanted to. But you ultimately always come back. You can spend an impact point to save a character and get them out of the town entirely. The impact points are intended to be like big things, ways for the characters to impact the town and the greater story that's being told. So there you go. Let's do a very quick recap of our players and who they're playing. Players, tell us who you are, just your character's name, what playbook you're using, and like a sentence that summarizes everything about your character. Let's start with Shannon.
Hi. Yep. So I'm Shannon, and I'm playing Audrey Williams, who is she's the townie, the kind of town gossip. Sum her up real quick. She is early 40s. She is super into appearances and how things look. She is a part-time clerk at city council. She has 2 sons. She's divorced, and yeah, she's just into everybody's business. She's not as terrible as she sounds, but yeah, she's a little neurotic.
Ando?
I am Ando Valentine, and I am playing a character named Valerie Morgan. She is the Forgotten. She is she is the kind of person that you would think of as like the town crazy conspiracy theorist, the only one, but to her mind, she's the only one that actually sees what's going on in this town. She is very outspoken and doesn't like most of the other people around. And that pretty much sums her up.
Chris.
My name is Chris, and I am playing Charles Winston Forthright, the Pillar. Charles is the small town politician. He's very charming, very ambitious, also a little ruthless, and he has a complicated past with both the town and some of the people living in it.
To say the least, because that was developed in between the game sessions here. And Shireen.
Hello, I'm Shireen, also known as Mad Fishmonger, and I'm playing Branwen. She is the youngster. She's, just out of high school, kind of wants to go to college, doesn't really know what she wants, and she's very kind of little Girl Scout, just sort of has done what she's told all the time. And now things are kind of weird. She's not really sure what's going on. So
Excellent segue. Yeah, things have gotten weird in the town of Nowhereville, and they often are. Strange things happen, violent things happen, and people in the town tend to just sort of forget that these things happen. But the four of you are unique. You're special in that you recognize what's going on around you, and you can think back and remember. Oh, there were these things in the past. They're a little hazy, they're a little foggy, but you can kind of pick out some details here and there of strange things that have happened. And for whatever reason, this time around, with the strangeness that's happening, you are kind of fully aware of it, and have decided to step up for your own reasons, whatever they may be, to put a stop to this and try to help and try to essentially fight back against the strangeness that is Nowhereville. The group, all of your characters were at Big Mama's Diner when the coach, Coach Brown, came rolling into the place, beaten to a bloody pulp, really terribly, badly injured. After assessing that and doing what you could to help him, you went out into the street after one of you saw a bipedal creature of some sort running about in the darkness. You chased that thing down and discovered this sort of misshapen, hulking, more or less humanoid thing. We basically nailed down and kind of call it a Hyde, like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of a human being that has transformed in some way. There was an a conflict there, an altercation, and a confrontation with it. You found at the same time you found the Jay Navarro unconscious, who is the second string quarterback for the local team, the high school team. He looked to be somewhat. He looked to have been strangled, although he was still alive, still breathing. And the creature, the Hyde, at one point picked him up and ran off. And one of you kind of coerced and corralled them into an alleyway where there was some construction taking place, so it was kind of a dead end because there was a lot of vehicles and construction debris and materials in the way. Then the group decided to regroup and confront again, which they did, and things went poorly for a second time. And when they got in there, they discovered that the Hyde had done something to young Mr. Navarro, and you confronted the creature. Then Navarro transformed into a Hyde himself. There was a little bit of back and forth dealing with both of them, and the group ultimately, I believe that was kind of the point where you hightailed it out of there. And there's a lot more depth and nuance to this, and you can go back and watch the previous episode on YouTube or go over to nerdburgergames.com and listen to it. So the group went rolling back to Big Mama's Diner, at which point you had heard sirens coming. This all happened within the matter of like a very short period of time. And so you saw an ambulance and the paramedics taking Coach Brown away. And people in the crowd who were still kind of gathered there talking about the coach having a collapsed lung. Like things were very, very grim for the coach. So that's where you are all at, coming off of an adrenaline high of having fought and then fled from one or more Hydes on two separate occasions in the last 45 minutes. And you are back at the diner. Deputy, where is she? Deputy Dolly Fabble, Deputy Fabble, is there, and looks like she's taken some statements. She's got her notepad out. She's been scribbling in it as you come running up. She's talking to some of the employees at the diner. A number of people are leaving and heading home. They're going in groups and looking around very warily, but this is the one and only law enforcement officer who is on the scene right now, and the paramedics have left. So take it away, players.
Audrey, first of all, is going to jump, kind of duck around everyone. She wants to lay eyes on Ben and make sure she's okay. Ben is her youngest, and was left on the, just for people watching. Ben was her youngest son. He's about 10, and she told him to stay in the diner while she went with everyone to look. So is he here? He's okay.
He is being helped and talked to by one of the patrons in the diner, and he looks like he looks like he's just kind of getting over something. And you've seen this before. Ben is prone to panic attacks, and you would surmise that he has just basically come down from one, that one way or the other somebody identified what was happening and helped to kind of talk him down, or just like, be there, comfort him, make sure that like let him run its course and get where he needs to be in order to kind of get his anxiety under control. And he's a little pallid. He's a little, his hand's a little shaky. He's drinking water, and he looks to you. He's, Mom. And he kind of shakily gets to his feet and stumbles over to you and wraps his arms around you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm wrapping my arms around him. I'm like, "You okay, sweetie?" Hey, and I'm rubbing his head, and I want to like check out his face and make sure he's okay. And I'm gonna kind of keep physical contact with him for a while, just to reassure him, like, I'm here, it's okay. Rub his back. You okay, buddy?
I'm okay. Are you okay? Are you?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
You
fine.
were,
Everything's fine.
but they were out there though. You were, they were. How did you get away from them?
Yeah, we were just checking to make sure everything was okay, and everything's gonna be fine, buddy. Don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna head home soon, and it's gonna be all right. Okay.
Any among you who wants to have overheard that exchange, of course, can. I'm not going to make anybody make a check for it. The place is kind of emptying out. A lot of people are heading out.
Probably
sorry. Go ahead, Sheree.
Sorry, I would probably just feel for the kid and her, and just kind of be like, sort of there if they need me, but kind of feeling awkward.
And all I was going to say is that I want seeing that, once we come back to the diner, see the paramedics are leaving, other people are leaving, and the deputies there, I don't even think that Valerie is going to, at least my intention is that she is not even going to go back inside the diner, but seeing that things are kind of shutting down, I'm just going to try and, this night is done. I'm going to see if I can just kind of, I don't even want to say join one of the groups that's leaving so much as you take advantage of a group sort of heading out to just head off into the shadows and just try and exit this gracefully, unless someone sees me.
Okay, well, that's really up to each of the individual players. Like if Valerie suddenly is not there with you, you would notice that, and if you popped your head outside, you'd be able to see and catch her in the act, so to speak, of escaping.
I was also thinking there of the deputy, in case you didn't want to let me off the hook that easily of not giving a statement. Basically, I'm trying to give you the opportunity of that. My intention is to go ahead and leave, but, I am open to being stopped if any characters, including NPCs, want to stop me.
Well, the deputy does not stop to talk to any of you. Does not stop you to talk, or to take any sort of statement.
I mean, I would have made sure you were okay. But, if you were fine, I checked on you and you were fine.
Well, I mean, you've been with me this whole time, so if you want to do a quick little, where are you off to? I'll do that with you.
Okay. Well, where are you going? Why are you leaving?
Home. In case you weren't paying attention to what just happened back there, we just narrowly escaped being squashed by 2 monsters. I think I can afford to give this town a great big "I told you so," and I owe nobody anything. I'm going home.
Oh, do you think that's safe?
This town hasn't been safe since I was born. But if there's anything that I can prove, it's that I know how to survive it. I'm still here, aren't I?
No. Oh, okay. Okay.
I like start to turn, then and turn back around. Are you all right?
Oh no, she cares. No!
How could I?
Emotions, empathy, damn you!
I don't know. Like, that was extremely weird and not.
Come on, pull yourself together, Branwen. This is the same kind of shit I've been seeing for years. Okay, pull yourself together. You have to be strong if you're going to survive this kind of thing.
What did you do the first time you saw it?
It's called hiding, kid. Hiding.
Okay, I'm gonna go do that now.
It's a good idea. Very good idea.
She really is like literally imagining going home and crawling under her own bed with like her stuffed animal or something.
And so if for lack of anything better, if she turns to go, I'm back on my way to head back out.
Charles would probably stop the two of you and say, hold on just one moment.
What now?
You haven't... I mean, don't you think we should give the deputy a statement?
Why? What good is this going to do, Charles? This shit has been happening since I don't even know, since before any of us were around. At this point, do you really think the police are going to be able to do anything to stop that? Pointing back in the general direction of where we, came from. Like, seriously, look at her. I'm gesturing to the deputy. Look at her. She's not even talking to us. In those big hulking things. Yeah, no. No. I am no.
Out of curiosity, where are you guys having this conversation? It's inside or outside the diner?
Just outside.
Just outside the
Okay.
door. You can all hear.
Yeah, probably visible from the window even. Like I'm not trying to hide yet.
It doesn't sound like I assume Valerie is being plenty loud with this. Like,
yes.
This is like she has strong opinions about this.
Basically, I'm aware the deputy herself might hear me dishing on her, and I don't care.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering if Audrey's in earshot, if she's hearing this. But I
Sure.
guess. Okay. If I'm hearing this, then I'm going to. I'm first of all annoyed that you're freaking out my kid even more. So I'm going to ask him to duck it. Ben, why don't you go inside in a booth and just wait for me right there? I'll be in there real shortly, honey. I'm just going to talk with some of the grown-ups here. Okay. And I'm going to send him in, and I'm going to whirl around on you. It's like, you need to keep your voice down. Okay. You're freaking people out.
Freaking people out. Like, I think that the monsters that we just tried to fight, and I remind you, we did not actually do anything substantial to, did plenty good enough job of freaking people out. I'm the only one with any sort of voice of sanity and reason around here.
Okay, first of all, I need you to lower your voice. Second of all, not everyone knows about those monsters. I look around and I'm like, and not everyone needs to. And third of all, we did accomplish something, okay? And I'm gonna pull out the vial of the liquid I have, the what it is. And I'm like, I found this at the scene, okay? This is obviously has something to do with those creatures, okay? So we have a lead to go on here to figure out what's going on. So you need to calm down, and we need to figure out what our next steps are with this. And she kind of runs out of steam there and just kind of like, so there.
Okay, fine. You figure out what to do next. I'm going home.
Yeah, you always were good at running from things, weren't you?
You see her like stop, and fists are clenched at her sides. Charles, don't start. Don't you dare start with me. It was bad enough. No, I'm not having this conversation again. Goodbye, Charles.
I don't remember having the conversation to begin with.
I'm ceasing to listen at this point.
Why are you mad at me? I've never figured that out.
You can keep talking. I want to have this conversation, but Valerie doesn't right now. Sorry.
While this is happening, I'm setting up a group chat on my phone for us.
Of course, that makes so much sense.
Welcome to 2021.
And I'm like, it's okay. We don't all have to be in the same place. I kind of want to go home and check on my parents and stuff.
Of course, yeah. So I'll just finally like calming down. It's like, of course, sweetie, that's fine. That makes a lot of sense. Well, we can still talk. We don't all have to stay here all night. I'm gonna take Ben home, but we should talk soon, and we should figure out what to do from here. I agree.
Chris, you realize that the woman who was kind of there with Ben, who was kind of taking care of him, and who chatted briefly with Audrey, that's Lisa Tanaka. She was in the diner previously, but her presence was not important to the moment in the last session. So she's embroiled in all of this now too, and just as a bit of information, more may be revealed, but because the listeners are effectively, let's call you like townsfolk here in Nowhereville, Lisa Tanaka is Charles's girlfriend, or at least a lot of people believe that, and Charles is married, so yep.
She's also another member of the city council.
Oh yeah. They work together.
There's that too.
So it's perfect. So it's totally in the shadows and surreptitious, and nobody would ever suspect, because they have no contact with each other on a daily basis for 8 hours plus a day. So that all happens. After this, everything sorts of calms down. People are looking like they're going to start heading home. And it looks like at least a few of you are looking at doing the same thing. Bronwyn sets up the group text, and once there's less people kind of milling about, Lisa walks over to Charles and says, "Councilman, I didn't want to frighten the mother, but the boy, when Ben, when he had the panic attack, I've seen panic attacks before, and it sort of looked like one, but he also, like, he was talking to someone, like they were there, like it seemed like he was talking to his mother, like he was telling her to get out of the way, to watch out, like he was hallucinating or something. I'm not even sure, but it seems like Miss Williams better. You might have a better idea of how to handle broaching that subject with her. I think her son might be on something, or there might be a deeper problem."
Thank you
And
for
then
bringing this
she
to my...
she kind of extricates herself, like she's ready to leave at this moment too, because you know that, like, kind of in public, the two of you don't spend any more time than necessary.
Councilwoman, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I will broach the subject as delicately as possible, and I will see you back at City Hall.
She gives you a little nod. She walks out the door, and the group of you are at this point. You're all free to. I mean, everybody has like some either they're planning to go home, or they have family that does need to be tended to. We've got the situation here. We've got multiple characters who have family that is not other player characters, so we can kind of just cut to that happening, unless somebody has something they want to still wrap up at the diner.
I do want to try to talk to the deputy, because
Okay.
I am trying to figure out why she didn't talk to any of us. So Charles just sort of walks over and says, Deputy, and he extends his hand to her. Deputy Fable.
Fabble.
Fabble, sorry. It's Deputy Fabble. What can you tell me about the incident? I mean, me and several other townsfolk were able to confront the people.
The perpetrator?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea. Hold on just a moment. And she gets out her notebook, flips it open, says, for the record, what did you see there, Chuck? She calls you this, and she knows that it irritates you. The killer about this is that her first name is Dolly, and there are people in the town who call her Deputy Dolly, never to her face. Because she does not take kindly to that. She takes her job very seriously, and she feels like that's awfully disrespectful. But she has no problem with calling some people by nicknames, especially people who she feels kind of deserve it. So she calls you Chuck.
The perpetrators seemed like they were on some sort of steroid or some type of substance which caused advanced muscle growth, slight disfigurations.
She's just writing it all down.
I know that at one point the perpetrator went and picked up Jay Navarro, second string quarterback for the football team, and seemed to pour something down his throat. I assume it was whatever kind of metabolic steroid or whatever that substance was. And Jay also seemed to become affected by this substance.
So drugs are involved. Excellent. Wonderful. Just what we need.
Yeah, it wasn't like any sort of drug I've ever heard of, though. I mean, drugs don't usually cause these kinds of changes in a person.
Well, you never know what people are coming up with nowadays.
I mean,
in the big city, these drugs are made by chemists. Like, they call them chemists. They're like the people that they know chemistry, and they can make things like this. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, this is not the sort of thing that you see getting imported from outside of the country or being grown out there in California. And it's it's terrible. But we'll do everything we can to. Where did all of this happen? Where was the last time you saw the affected individuals?
I let her know the street that we were
Give
on.
her the whole rundown.
Yeah.
She takes it down, and she's like, she presses you for like details here and there a little bit. She gets, kind of gets a full. How in depth of detail do you go as far as offering up details of like actually like fighting and getting into like physical altercations?
I leave out a lot of the details as to what we did.
Okay.
More, it was just like we were there, we chased them down. At certain points, if it looked like they were going to become violent towards us, we would remove ourselves from the situation, just try to sort of keep an eye on them. And then we saw, Jay get the stuff poured down his throat, and then they both sort of took off. Is the story that I tell. Okay. And I try to leave the others out of it as much as possible.
Right, and she doesn't press you into a great deal of detail because you would imagine she doesn't really assume that you're a fighter. So she does a good job of just taking down all the details that you offer her. She fills up a couple pages on the notebook, and says, all right, well, thank you very much. If we have additional questions, someone will be in touch. She hands you her card. and says, "Yep, the Norville Sheriff's Department will certainly be looking into this. The sheriff is sick. He's sick in bed right now, so I'll make sure to get this information to all of the other deputies, and we'll keep a lookout for these fellas." Thank you.
I say, "Thank you, deputy," and I shake her hand and
Shakes your hand back, gives a little tip of the cap, and goes on about her business.
yep, and I leave the diner.
Okay. Everybody goes home. Nighttime passes. You're able to get whatever amount of sleep it is you think your character can reasonably get after an evening such as that one. The next day kind of rolls around, and if there's anything in particular that you wanted your character to have done, like in the night or in this next morning, feel free to interject that. We do keep in mind too. We talked about the when we were brainstorming ideas. Talk about the flashback device. So if you don't think of like when we, especially useful when we have these stretches of time that pass, because I'm trying to avoid the D&D thing of like, it's just fighting all day. It's just stuff constantly, time will pass. People have jobs. People have to do stuff. You have families to attend to and personal responsibility. So there will be, the time will pass and stuff, but we can always we can always flash back to something if you decide that it's important that we interject, like, oh, my character did this during that time, as long as it's like reasonable. If it's something that's going to be that's going to have a significant bearing on the story that like actually might give you some sort of a benefit that becomes like rewriting the narrative a little bit, you can spend a spirit to do that. That was another thing we instituted with our brainstorming last time around. You can spend that resource to bend the narrative a little bit. So if it becomes important, I can always just ask you to spend that. So otherwise, in the morning. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say that she would have just updated in the chat, and just kind of and just just saying like, hey, I got home safe, and I've checked the house, and my parents are fine, and just sort of a general update.
Okay.
And as far as the next day, it's not that I had a specific action or activity that I wanted to do. I just wanted to note that essentially the morning finds me sitting on one of the public benches outside City Hall, seemingly just minding my own business, sitting there on the bench, looking thoughtful, not really doing anything actively, but I'm there sitting on one of the public benches outside City.
Okay. Let's see. Let's call this a weekday. For simplicity's sake, it allows us to get the kids off to school and roll the story a little bit better that way. So Audrey, get the kids off to school. Anything in particular? Unless you're planning to keep. Ben seems recovered. He seems all right. He was shaken last night, but he's the next morning comes around, and kids are kids. Sometimes they are very resilient, and he seems to be in good spirits.
Cool. I'm glad. Yeah, I think he probably had a little bit of a rough night last night. I don't think we got his homework done because we weren't done when we left, and I just told him, "Don't worry about it tonight. I'll write you a note, and we'll finish the homework this extra with everything tomorrow. It's going to be fine." And just worked. We watched his favorite movie, and we got him off to bed. I think she poured herself a large glass of wine as this was happening, and after both him and her other son, Joe. I forget if I had another name for him. I'll call him Joe for now. After him and Joseph were off in bed, I think she probably was Googling how to determine the contents of a, potion or like of a liquid, but I don't think she got very far. So yeah, so I think if they're doing good today and in good spirits, then they're off at school.
Well, how about let's do this? Let's have you make a mind check, target number 5 for if you have a specialty, kind of research, like just finding information.
Yeah, there was a channel I was using for rolling, and I can't find it now. Oh, no, I found it. Okay. So that tells me how many. Sorry, it's been
Right.
2 weeks. It tells me how many die I'm rolling.
Whatever your score is, that's how many d6 you roll. You're looking to hit that target number or exceed it with at least one die in order to be successful.
Okay.
If you have a specialty that falls in the realm of what your check is, then that gives you advantage, which gives you plus one die.
Figuring things out. Does this fall in that?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
You're the group's internet researcher.
I got a
It's
6.
important for the town gossip to
Yeah.
dig up the dirt.
Yeah, so I got a 6.
Okay. Mark a spirit, and yeah, you find like as far as like just determining basic components of some material, whether that be a solid or a liquid or anything like that, that's something that you could test for some of those some certain things with just household good, like because certain things will react with other things. Like if you put baking powder into the right liquid, it'll foam, and just all those sorts of things. You can't get terribly specific, but it's certainly something that, say, a high school chemistry lab and chemistry teacher could probably pin down a handful of things with stuff that they literally teach and demonstrate in class. Like, you mix these two things together and it causes the thing to, the liquid to turn color or to foam or bubble or whatever. That indicates the presence of X, Y, or Z.
Perfect. Yeah, I think she's going to try to figure out how to go about surreptitiously asking the high school chemistry teacher to help with this project.
Okay. You does anybody touch base? Like we can do this easily enough. Like even with the characters are not present. This is a first for me. Everybody having a text chain with characters in a game. I so rarely do modern day games, and when they are modern day games, like it's usually like this just doesn't come up very often. But like, why the hell wouldn't you have a text chat going between the group? And you could even all go to Zoom, or if your characters all can afford iPhones, you can FaceTime with each other. Let's take advantage of it. It absolutely.
Yeah. I've just been updating everybody, like, when she goes to sleep, she's just like, okay, I'm going to bed now, and then she's up, she's like, hey, I'm up, everything's cool. Like, she's just sort of, or like, and in the middle of the day, she's just sort of checking in every now and then, and like whether or not anybody else does it, she's doing.
God, Valerie is so annoyed by all of these texts, especially considering that even though I clearly would have had Branwen's number, so I know who that is. I don't think I would have already had Audrey or Charles's numbers in my phone. There is no reason I would have. So at first it's like, wait, I know who this is. Oh my God, I can't get away from these people. I don't know that I'm actually participating in the chat. I'm just like constantly, like every time that I pull out my phone, which is not a smartphone, by the way, it's like a Nokia, one of the bricks or whatever. So it's got texting capability, but it's T9, And so like she keeps looking, rolling her eyes and just run away,
Charles would also check up on everyone. He would probably send a message to asking, how Ben was, and asking if when Audrey has a moment that he'd like to speak to her about what happened the other night.
Okay, cool. I think Audrey would have reached out and asked, did you do that like the night, last night or today sometime?
Probably would have been this morning, through the group chat.
Okay. I think she'll be like, yeah, I'm free today, whenever you want to talk. And I think at some point too, she would text you, Brennan, to see, like probably in the group text, to see if you are still in touch with the science teacher at the high school at all, and if you think we could use the chem lab to try to figure out what the substance is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did pretty good in science class, so I could go and ask. After
The high school chemistry teacher is Deandra Armstrong. Relatively young, just like a handful of years out of school. Her first job is, as far as you know, so she's maybe at most 7 or 8 years older than you, Bronwyn, like late 20s, maybe 30, and she she was sort of a cool teacher. Like you remember the class being she loved if you think of the cliche chemistry teacher that does the cool demonstrations and
Flashy.
isn't afraid to do the one where you make the giant foam eruption, where you mix stuff together and make a giant mess on the table. She's down with that. And she would.
So Bronwyn would have loved that. She's 100% on board with that.
She would drop an actual little sliver of calcium into water, and it would just burn with a fire of white hot, to demonstrate stuff. So the students really liked her.
Yeah, so I'll go. I'll say that we can go. Come with me. I'll ask her to come. With me to the high school at the end of the day. Once the students have left, and we'll go talk. We'll see.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds great. And I think she would have responded to you, Charles, as whenever you want to talk, feel free to give me a call, or if you want to come to the high school with us to talk to the chemistry teacher, we can talk then too.
Yeah, he'll go ahead and join you guys. Head over to the high school.
All right.
Just to sort of see what's going on there.
Unless somebody has something up their sleeve for the run of the day, we can kind of cut to the end of the school day.
Well, since nobody came to the city hall and interacted with me, then probably
no. The assumption is people went to work. People went about their day and did the stuff. I'm just that's not fun to role play necessarily, unless you want to get all up in Charles's face again, which I have no problem with.
It's more like I was wondering if when Charles and or Audrey, either one, came to work, seeing me already sitting outside, I was wondering if that would spark anything they'd want to interact with me. I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way. I've got my own reason for being there that may or may not trigger depending on events. But if pretty much no one's going to interact, then I'm going to have my business, which I won't make a big deal of, leave. And as far as the high school thing, even though I didn't get involved in that conversation and I didn't agree to go, throughout the day, my curiosity gets the better of me. And even though I'm not necessarily intending to go in with everyone, when I first go there, it's almost like I've literally got nothing better to do. And they're talking about going and doing this cool chemistry thing. And it's why am I going and doing this? But I'm still going to go at least to the school and see if people show up as they say they will.
For the purposes of GM machinations, muahaha, do I need to know what it was Valerie was up to at the town hall, at the city hall, outside of talking to other player characters?
If the answer is yes, do I need to do that with you privately?
I don't know. I think everybody here can roleplay ignorance. If this was
basically
a character moment, let's establish it. So because we are doing this for an audience as well.
So basically, then what we have, for the sake of the audience, what we have landed on is that the mayor, who none of us can remember the mayor's name. Craig, will you please resupply?
Bill Tweed.
Bill Tweed. So
tall,
Mayor
thin, black guy, won the mayorship recently, first term mayor, very DIY kind of guy, likes hands on, likes to get really involved. Is first term after a long time mayor who had been been mayor for 7 consecutive terms. So like a breath of fresh air, so kind of character.
So we determined between last session and this session, Mayor Tweed is my ex-husband.
Oops.
That very few people in like the town necessarily would know about, but as far as the other players, at least Charles and Branwen are close enough to me to know this. I would not be surprised if Audrey knows it too. It is not something that would be difficult for her to know. Just the general average citizen of the town may not.
Does the town gossip know?
Exactly. That's why I figured that Audrey probably knows. Charles definitely does, because we also determined that it is Charles's machinations, if you will, that led to Bill going out for mayor, which is what led to me splitting from him. So basically, that's part of the bitterness between me and Charles is the whole my husband got, talked into getting on the city council, which is going to the dark side as far as I'm concerned. And that just killed any love that I could have had for him. And that's why I cannot stand Charles right now. So what I was out there for, unless either Charles or Audrey said anything, which it doesn't seem they did, what I was there for was to kind of see the mayor in passing, and I had been debating whether or not to go up and say something to him, largely because last night did freak me out in ways that the rest of the people didn't get to know because I don't bother telling them. But I feel like it's enough of a thing. I might have to actually, I don't know for a fact that I would actually say something to him, so I almost want to make it a roll to see if I can get my courage up. How do you feel about that, Craig?
If you really want to make it a roll, you can make it a roll. Make it a heart check. Target number, let's see. You set the target number for yourself, 4, 5, or 6, because is this really hard for you to do?
I would say it's not necessarily a 6, but I'd say it's a 5. It's
okay.
Not super easy. All right, here we go. Okay, and I had 0 hits.
Okay, mark a skill. You don't manage to muster up the courage to walk up to him. He comes walking through on his way into City Hall and sees you, waves.
Then there's where I lose my nerve. I actually
gives
was
a
out
smile.
of the bench. I was out of the bench and getting ready, and then he sees me, waves and smiles, and it just dies. I lose all resolve. I give kind of a tentative, and then I just turn and scurry away.
Out of the corner of your eye, as you do that, you catch him he's not saying it out loud, but he's kind of mouthing it, and you recognize it. He's like, "Are you all right?" And that you only catch part of that, and you kind of whoop and off you go.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's all I had to do.
Okay. And Bill goes to work. I guess where he mayors. Well, my dad's a plumber, and I guess you plumb, huh, Dad?
Would I have seen Valerie at some point during the day?
Oh, certainly, if she's out in front of the...
Yeah, if you got there before the mayor, for sure you saw me.
If you went into work, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Once you have your interaction with the mayor, do you just then leave City Hall, or do you continue to hang out there throughout the day?
After I lose my nerve to talk to Mayor Tweed, I would leave City Hall, but I'm not going back to home. I'm the kind of person, Valerie is the kind of person that does not spend her time at home for reasons that may or may not become relevant. She just tends to, once she gets up, she needs to get out and get into the city to keep her eyes on everything. And so she's the wanderer that always is out and about, frequently seen just in various random places throughout the town. So you can definitely find me again.
How about this?
You could bump into her at lunch easily enough.
Easy.
Bump into you.
Just decide that's what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We bump into each other in town. I'm coming out of a sporting goods store where I've just purchased a gun.
Oh, well, interesting. Okay. You purchased it. Is it is it obvious? Will I be able
to tell? He's twirling it on his finger woo!
I mean,
he's got the holster. He's doing trying to do that.
it's a shoulder. It's like a shoulder holster, so
Right.
he can. It's concealed when he's got his coat buttoned up, which is what he's doing. Like as he
Okay.
leaves the store, he's already got the holster, and you see him like fitting a gun into the holster,
And he looks
buttoning his coat back
uncomfortable. He
up.
looks
And
uncomfortable.
I look very
because
uncomfortable.
now he's got like this concealed holster that straps across his back and his shoulders, and that feels weird. And you got this
It
gun,
does.
so your arm is hitting it, and
Yeah.
he's adjusting his jacket. He looks
He's
really
never
out of
used
sorts.
one before.
Normally, Charles is really, I would imagine, like got his shit together, and so he looks really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure.
Seeing you uncomfortably sort of adjusting and getting
Mhm.
your coat. Oh, God. You two.
Oh. Hi.
Hi.
Are you okay? You seem a little flustered.
Why do you care?
I mean, why wouldn't I care?
What is this, high
Really?
school?
If you
I'm sorry. Like they just trying really hard not to talk to each other, but clearly they want to talk to each other.
if you really cared, what? I'm not going there today. You're welcome.
Okay. Going where? What is this thing that you have against me? What
you-
did I do?
Will you stop pretending that you don't know exactly what you did?
I
It's
have
all
no
your
idea.
fault.
What is?
in one of those moments when you can tell that someone has been holding on to something for too long and it just burst out of them, in one of those, I just get right in your face, and it's like, it's all your fault that Bill is the mayor, so go away.
20 people heard that. They're all they're all
lots
looking.
of people.
It's what he wanted.
No, he wanted to help people, and it was your poison that got him into
He's
government, which government sounds like a dirty word, this awful dirty word she doesn't even want to say. The government.
Do you have any idea how many people he's helped since he's become the mayor? All the programs we've been able to implement to help people?
Oh, programs. Yes, all of the programs. Like the one. You know what? I don't even want to get into this with you right now. If you had not just there is too many people watching right now for me to do what I really want to do or say what I really want to say. Don't talk to me. I'm pretty much walking away from you at this point, unless you're going to chase me down.
He walks over, he goes, look, I know you don't like me. I know you blame me for a lot of the problems that you've experienced. But something is happening in this town, and I don't understand it.
Oh,
And
something's happening in this
You
town.
seem to.
Yeah, because I'm the one who's had my eyes open for decades. I'm the only one who isn't fooled into thinking that when, say, Timothy Oliphant got killed, it was just an accident, and it wasn't the monster that I saw strangle him. I've been saying that this town is evil since the day I turned 12 years old, and nobody, not one single person, has ever believed me. And now you believe me. Now, when you've seen the monsters too, I see exactly how it is, Charles. Look, yes, I get it. I've seen things. And if you're finally ready to ask for my help, that's one thing. But don't expect me to have to like it, okay?
I mean, that's fair. You're not wrong.
All right, then, Mr. City. You can tell she's getting deflated because you're not actually like re-engaging. You're just kind of deflating her. So it's just kind of getting harder and harder to maintain the anger. You know.
He's killing the fight.
Yeah, he is. He's totally killing. Look, what is it you even want from me? What do you want me to do? Okay, you want me to have conversations with everyone over text messages? You want me to you want me to go and play chemistry
Is that your
with you?
phone?
Yes,
What?
it's my phone. What of it?
How does that even still work? I didn't think the networks around here even supported those kinds of phones anymore.
It's one of the few things that
You want me to buy you a smartphone? Because I can buy you a smartphone.
It's one of the few things that Bill still accommodates me on. Okay, just drop it. Okay, now what is it that you're even asking of me? You want me to follow you and Audrey and Branwyn to the school and play chemistry with you and the teacher? Is that what you're looking for? Is that what you want of me?
That's one thing. Another thing, have you ever heard of people having, oh God, how do I even put this? Visions, premonitions, seeing things at someplace else?
This is one of the first times you've ever seen me lost for words entirely. I'm just looking at you with like this whole different expression. It's a mixture of surprise and disbelief. That I'm just looking at you with this dawning surprise and disbelief and not saying anything.
I talked to a colleague from work who was at the diner last night, and she mentioned that Ben Williams, during his panic attack, acted like he was seeing things that weren't there. And this is going to sound crazy, but I don't think he was having hallucinations. I think he was tuned in, or I don't know. He knew what was happening, or what we were doing, or I don't even have the words for this. Does this sound familiar at all?
For the first time, something that you're saying doesn't sound crazy. And it isn't infuriating.
Cut.
Well, there's
cut
a first
scene?
time for everything.
Cut scene. Within about 90 minutes, the entire conversation that the two of them had, from the point where Valerie first screamed, up until just before that last little exchange that was kind of quieter about Ben, all of that information makes it to Audrey's ears through the grapevine. Because you're the town gossip, and people are talking about how like there's like this giant argument out on the street.
Did you hear that Charles and Valerie got into an argument outside the diner or outside the sporting goods store?
Welcome
No,
to
is
small
it
town.
is it just that they had a fight, or the information?
Like it's the words, like people recount like. And it becomes like a game of telephone. So like your information,
like
your information may not be exact, but it doesn't include the portion where they were talking about Ben, because that was the point where the two kind of had walked off and gotten quieter when they were really arguing. When Valerie was really yelling at him. So like in your version of the story, you know, Charles was also yelling, and it was like this big, you know, it became a game of telephone. So everything got distorted a little bit, and Bronwyn he just gets a text from Letitia, your best friend, saying that, did you hear some wild-eyed woman like just went off on the city councilman? No details, just like the basics of like, you know, just like went off.
And as soon as she says that,
and then sends you a video of somebody with their phone who caught like a couple of sentences after the first scream, the rest of the argument, until they started to walk off. Valerie being like really loud and shaking her fist, and Charles being like seemingly passive aggressively too calm, and coming across kind of as a dickbag too, because of it. And so yeah, that's now circulating amongst the younger crowd.
And I'm just like, I send her like several like face palm emojis and that sort of thing. And I'm just like,
she's going to come through my Nokia 3310.
No, it isn't. And I'm just like, OMG, that's my cousin. OMG, don't tell anybody.
I think Audrey is going to send a text to the group channel and just be like, Val, Charles, were you guys fighting outside of a gun shop? What is going on?
It was a sporting goods store, first of all. Second, we got in a minor, this is all in text, we got in a minor bolded disagreement, which we were able to resolve and find a common ground. And that, he again bolded, will not happen again.
Oh man, I'm trying to decide what I'm going to tack onto that, because Val, at this point, for the first time since the channel was created, would actually respond to this. But there's no capitalization or punctuation. There's all kinds. It's T9, so there's all sorts of shorthand and there's typos. And I'm just trying to sort of land on exactly how I would put it. Something to the tune of, "That's your side of the story." That's your side of the story. I don't want to talk about it. Tell everyone nothing bad happened and leave me alone. And that would be like a series of poorly, spelled texts.
I'm just like, LOL, tell YouTube.
And time passes and everybody gets a chance to calm down. We'll cut to the end of, unless somebody's got something up their sleeve, we'll cut to the end of the school day. It sounds like everybody was planning to show up, so you come rolling into Nowhereville High School. Bronwyn, you are able to lead them directly to the chemistry lab easily enough, and there's students milling about in the town or in the school. Like the school's let out, but there's always those handful that kind of like they take their sweet time, as opposed to other students who are like out the door as soon as they can get to their locker and drop their crap off. You see there's a student who looks to be potentially in detention. You've seen this happen before. Maybe it's happened to you. Who is cleaning up something. They're scrubbing. Somebody wrote something with marker on somebody's locker. Okay. And they're scrubbing it off. And you, everybody, as you walk by, give me a mind check. Target number 5.
Ooh. I get to whip out the dice.
2 hits.
I can spend a spirit to roll another dice, can't I?
To gain a die on the check, yep.
Okay. 1 hit.
I got... What do I need for a hit?
Target number 5.
Oh, no, I fail. 2 fails.
I got a hit.
Okay, everybody who got a hit... you see that it's a web address that is being scrubbed off of the locker, and it is now her dot evil, like with ILLE at the end.
Real quick, because I got 2, do I move on the sway track? Is that what happens instead of a spirit?
Yeah, you move 1 toward the nearest end of the sway track.
Oh,
those of you who got 1 hit, you gain a spirit. Shireen, you gain a skill. And keep in mind, too, let's remind everybody, too, if you're going to move along the sway track, you can spend a spirit to move the other direction. So you normally, when you have to push toward whatever end of the sway track you are closest to, and you can push you can move one in the other direction if you spend a spirit to do so.
It is of note, I just dropped into the chaos realm of the sway track. I just got access to my chaos power.
Woo! And then, you had 2 hits. So, you can ask. Let's do it this way. Like as you walk by, you think to take a moment and ask that student, "What is that?" Pointing at the web address that's being scrubbed off. The other 2 people walk by. And you just notice it and make a note of it.
Why are you cleaning off this thing? I don't know that I'd recognize a web address quite as quickly or easily, but yeah.
Even if you don't use the internet that much, you know what a web address looks like.
Why is this being removed?
No graffiti on the lockers. New rule. It's just as well. This is like some fucked up occult website anyway. Full of weird shit.
Let's see. I'm actually about to have to figure out if I don't think the old Nokias had a camera. I'm actually going to call out Branwen.
What?
Come here.
Okay.
You've got your phone's got one of those camera things on it, right?
Yeah.
Can you take a picture of this?
Well, now you get a good look at this.
The web address.
Being a youngster.
What is that?
Okay. And because we can't, everybody realizes what it spells, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll just let the listeners figure that out. Write it down.
And I'm just like, that is weird. And I go to the web page to look it up.
And see, so I asked you to take a picture, but since you actually, because I didn't think of, Valerie didn't think about you actually going to it. Seeing you actually going to it, I'm now going to very awkwardly, basically like get my chin kind of over your shoulder so I can be looking. And I keep like pointing at things and touching your phone along the way. Like,
I'm just
wait,
like
what's
smacking your hand away. She's really fast with it too, so it's kind of hard for you to get a hand in there because she's just moving through everything so quickly.
You get to the webpage. The page is completely black. In the center is 2 rectangles for entering text. One of the rectangles says name, and the rectangle below it says password in like that gray text. That like when you start typing, it'll disappear. You'll type over it. And there is no spot to make an account. It just says name and password.
Okay.
What's that? What's that mean?
I try putting in like the website name broken up, like the .evil part as the password.
Okay.
And then the other part is the beginning.
Nothing. It tells you, login unsuccessful, and then it goes back to the screen, name and password.
I don't know. I guess like you have to know somebody to get into this. We'll figure this out. I don't know if this means anything, but whatever. I just kind of poke around and see if I can see anything. All right. I do a search on it to see if, if anybody's talked about it, what people are saying.
You search, you go and Google the actual web address, and you get no hits.
That's
it literally comes up. It comes up. A screen comes up on Google that you have never seen before, which is there are no hits for this search, and there's literally nothing else on the screen.
This is like impossible.
Impossible? Why?
I don't know. There's always something. I don't know. This must be some like weird ass stuff.
Maybe you have to search for it on Bing.
Sorry. I don't know. Look, Like, I mean, I know how to use the internet and stuff, but I'm not like a hacker. So beyond this, I don't know what I'm doing.
Could be a private website or something on the dark net.
That's what I'm thinking. And especially if it's that, like, I don't know. I can't help anybody. I don't know anything.
And if either of you like give Charles a weird look at that, he's like, "What? There was a seminar about it.
Yeah, of course.
They covered it at work."
Is the kid cleaning the graffiti still there?
Yeah, they're having a hard
We
time
would have
getting
wandered
it to
off.
getting
Like,
it
we
to.
don't have to stand in front of it.
Yeah,
to-
it takes them a while to scrub it off. It was written on there with marker, so the kid's still there.
I think I'll ask them, how do you know it's an occult site? There's nothing here.
Oh, my friend figured out how to get in, or somebody told him or something. He showed me the site. I noped the hell out of there.
Who was your friend?
This kid looks at the adult strangers asking him personal questions and says, I just got to get this cleaned off. Sorry,
Charles-
I'm in detention. I'm supposed to be just cleaning this all up.
Charles reaches into his back pocket and pulls out a $100 bill and goes, maybe I could help you refresh your memory a little bit.
Give me
my God.
Give me a charm check. Target number 5.
Okay.
And that, oh my God, was in character, by the way. Valerie's just,
Oh,
oh
yeah,
my God.
I
It's
expect
just
it.
Like, oh,
Um,
bribe.
let's see. Would this fall under persuading someone?
It's a bribe, yeah.
Okay. You said target number 5?
Yeah.
Got one hit. Got one hit.
Sure, Marker Spirit. He yanks, as he takes the $100 bill from your hand, he says, Jay Navarro showed it to me at some party a month or so ago.
I was like, me out of character was like, why do I know that name? All right.
You haven't talked to Jay in the last.
You haven't
year,
spoken to
so
Jay.
have you?
Oh, him. No, I mean, okay, I said friend. We're really not friends. We just kind of hang out with some of the same people. Why the third degree, old man? Come on, just let me get my work done so I can go home.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Thanks for the Franklin. And he goes back to scrubbing.
Charles, do you have a business card on you?
Yeah. Charles reaches out and pulls out a business card.
Okay, Audrey's gonna take it and give it to the kid and say, if you see Jay Navarro, give us a call.
All right. Kind of looks at the
It's
card,
about a scholarship.
puts it in his pocket. Okay.
It's about it's in regards to a new scholarship we're thinking about doing for athletes.
You
in the town.
politicians just never stop talking, do you? I took the card. Let me do my job. Come on.
No, they never do. Come on. I'm going to grab both Charles and Audrey. Come on. Leave the kid alone. God, you politicians.
Okay.
I wouldn't even. And as you're walking away, you hear him saying, "I wouldn't even be doing this if the stupid janitor wasn't sick." And you make your way to the chemistry lab where Miss Armstrong is Armstrong, right? Yeah, Deandra Armstrong is she's in the in the back of the room. There's the storage room. The door's open. You see her in there clinking and clanking. There's sounds, and she's tidying, tidying up, putting chemicals and glassware and whatnot away.
I'm like, hi. What was her name? Armstrong?
Miss Armstrong.
Hi, Miss Armstrong.
She kind of pops her head back out the door. Bronwyn, hello.
Hi.
You graduated, right? What are you doing here?
Well, I have a kind of a chemistry mystery, and I was wondering if you could help me.
Sure. Just give me a minute to finish up in here, unless
Yeah.
um. And you walk up to the door and you look in and you see that there's these big glass, like tall glass cabinets, multi-shelved with glass. They have glass doors, so that you can look in and see everything, even when it's all closed up. And there's like 4 or 5 of them back here, and 2 of them are missing the glass. And she's literally just putting stuff back on a shelf, like through the door frame.
What happened?
Oh, some kids got in here and busted this thing up
Huh.
a few days ago. Stole some stuff. I put in a report for it. It was nothing that's going to cause any. I mean, they're not going to blow up anything, so I'm not worried. I keep a pretty tight inventory. I'm not worried, but
Okay.
I am curious what they took and why they took it. Or not curious what they took. She said, but I am curious why they took it.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, um so who is it? Who has the substance? Or did you guys give me the substance?
Audrey has it. You're all there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I just called you over. We found this stuff and we sort of don't know what it is.
She looks at the vial, just sees a mixture of, it's a glass vial as we described. It's got a kind of greenish liquid in it because why not green? And she looks at you and says, "Well, what are you looking to determine about this?" She opens. She says, "Is it safe? It's not noxious or anything."
I don't know.
Yeah, we haven't opened it since we found it.
All right, let's do this properly. And she takes you over to a hood, turns it on, so we get airflow up and out. She puts on gloves, but has everybody put on goggles, and opens it up under the hood. And she becomes very quickly becomes intrigued, and your ultimate goal here was to see if you could kind of determine what's in it, or at least some of what's in it. So we'll cut to the chase on that. She goes through a process under the hood. She has you go and get chemicals and things, and some glassware and stirring rods and everything out of the storage, and goes through and does a whole series of tests where she eyedroppers this into a petri dish with something else and determines this and determines that, and she starts making a list, and she looks at it and says, after she's got this list, after she's and she's been chatting with you as this has all been going on, and she's just kind of doing all of this automatically, and she's very, very friendly, and she's mostly asking you what you've been doing with yourself and whether or not you're going to college and all that other kind of crap.
Oh yeah, and I'm
that
just
adults always ask
about
recent
what
graduates
I've been
about.
studying, and, just casual.
And she looks at the list and says, And Craig's not a chemist, so I'm not going to list actual chemicals, but she lists them off, and she says, every single one of these is something that was stolen from this lab last week.
What?
Hold it.
And I mean, there's something more in there, certainly. And she explained, she gives you this like highfalutin, this sciencey reason of well, when this reaction happened, it didn't quite happen the way I expected it, and blah blah blah. So it implies that there's more that she's not able to identify, but she doesn't know really. It would be literally blindly testing every chemical that she could think of. So she says there's clearly there's something else in there, and she says, where did you find this?
On the street.
Lying on the street.
Yeah, I was out walking last night, and then I was like, "What is this puddle of weird shit?" And so I picked it. I thought you might know. She's not the greatest liar. She doesn't have to do it very often, so.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's get a charm check out of you. Target number. She is a teacher who has no reason to disbelieve you. Target number 4.
I got 2 5s.
Push yourself one to the closer end of the sway track. She looks at
Sorry,
like
toward order or chaos. Where was I?
whichever one you are closest to.
Oh, that's right.
So now you are closer.
All right. Oh.
Unless you spend a spirit to go the other direction.
No, I'm good where I am.
Okie dokie. She looks at you and says, Miss Ilar, where did you find this? What happened? Are you in some sort of trouble? And she's got that, like, she's not tapping her foot and waiting for you to give her an answer, but she's got the look that you know all too well from adults when you are, like, they're onto you. She's onto you.
Branwyn, she is, you're not a good liar, sweetie.
Fine. You tell her.
I am here under protest. Charles, you tell her.
There was an incident last night involving people who apparently were drinking this stuff and it drove them out of their minds.
Wait a minute. And she pulls out her phone and pulls up a video and shows it to all of you. And it's Valerie screaming about monsters out on Main Street just hours ago. She says, "Is this you?" And at that moment, a student walks into the room, and it is Jay Navarro. And he starts speaking.
I'm just like,
he starts speaking. He starts talking, and he says, "Somebody said, or you said, Brandon said you were looking." And he looks and sees all of you, and he turns around and runs. And that's where I'm going to take a little break.
Is this screaming mad woman you? Yes.
And we'll come back in a few.
awesome.
minutes.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And we're back. Jay Navarro has just bolted down the high school hallway away from all of you. It looked like Jay. It looked like the young man that you saw out on the street corner.
I think I would actually just instinctively follow as he ran. I would just run right after him.
Okay, he is a
I mean,
high school.
especially if he
He
looks
is a high school
normal.
athlete. He is running.
Oh, yeah. I am not gonna catch up, but I think as an instinct, I would just do that.
Okay, you give chase.
Yeah.
What's everybody else doing?
I've got an idea.
Charles is also going to give chase.
I think Audrey is floored for a minute, but if Bronwyn or if they start running, she's gonna start running too. Like,
Question, Craig.
Mhm.
You may see where I'm heading with this as I start asking these questions. So the hallway that Jay is running back down away from us, I mean, it's a school and we've just walked in from outside. Is it pretty obvious he's basically just trying to get back out and is just trying to run away? Like, is that obvious enough that I can tell that he's running towards the front door or whatever?
Well, I mean, you don't really know the school, but I mean, he's not diving into another room.
Right. So
He's bolting down a corridor.
So in a split second, it's reasonable to think, oh, he might just be trying to leave the school. Second question, does this chemistry classroom we're in have, I assume, a window to see outside?
It does not.
It does not have an outside window. Interesting. Okay. That changes things a little bit. Damn it.
I'm using the layout of my hometown high school in my head. And there are plenty of
Okay, then I'll just do it this way.
classrooms that
Okay.
didn't have that weren't on the outside of the building.
Is the hallway he's running down at least long enough that I can, like, basically I'm trying okay, let me just tell you what I'm trying to get at. Since I now have access to my chaos power, it is slip sideways. I can spend a spirit to literally teleport to a location, but I have to be able to see it. So if I can't see outside, I can see far enough down the hallway that I can basically just kind of pop to the other side so I can kind of come out of like a, just basically get on the other side of Jay and kind of physically just get in his way, whether he plows
absolutely,
into me
you
or
can do
tries
that.
to get around. Okay, then I'm going to spend a spirit and teleport to the other side of the hallway to get on the other side of him to kind of just get in his way.
Okay, so we're gonna jump back to start this with Bronwyn, who was the first person who piped up about bolting. So we're gonna start. Essentially, we're in an action sequence again here, and remember how we did that last time, where people choose who goes next. So we're starting with Bronwyn. You go running. It's just gonna be a straight up just chase.
Okay, so that would just be body.
Yeah, give me a body check. Target number 6, because you're racing against a.
On one good die.
A spirit.
It's a 3. So
So you give chase, and he is aiming on
likely
you.
jogging.
He is pulling away.
he's way ahead of me, but I'm just gonna continue.
Yep. Who goes next?
So I won't go fast, but I'll just keep going.
Who's up next?
me or Charles. Probably.
Shireen, you pick somebody.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Then Valerie, I guess, since had a
Okay, that's fine. I've told you what I'm doing. I spent a spirit. I'm intending to teleport. I just kind of sort of like seem to step sideways, and then all of a sudden I'm just down at the end of the hall on the other side of him, and I just get out and like, stop.
Okay, you get right in front of him. Give me like a strength check, target number 5. Do it with advantage. He was not expecting someone to suddenly be in his way.
So that's body. By strength, you mean body?
Body, sorry, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Damn you, D&D.
I'm just double checking to make sure, but none of my specialties relate. Okay, all right, here we go. And what was the target number again?
5.
1 hit.
All right, gain a spirit. You get out in front of him. He runs into you.
No shock.
And is like now you're basically able to kind of grab onto him and kind of remain in his way. You don't tackle him to the ground or tie him up or any get him all wrapped up or anything, but you've slowed him, so that makes other people's chances to catch up easier, basically. Who's up next?
With that, I'm turning it over to Charles.
Okay. So I was running towards him. Um,
Just giving chase.
trying to grab him.
Okay, body. Well, you can catch up to him, so we'll make it a body check. Target number 5 to, not to like wrestle him and pin him to the ground or anything, but to to kind of wrap him up and like get both hands on him and good hard, be able to get his one arm, get his arms pinned behind his back or something that's going to prevent him from getting too far.
1 hit.
Okay, you get him, you kind of wrap him up, gain a spirit. And then Audrey comes rolling up now. There's 3 adults who are accosting a 17-year-old boy in a corridor, in a school hallway with, let's say, 4 people watching. All students. Audrey, it's your turn.
I think she's gonna maybe notice that we have an audience and is going to suggest, Val, Charles, maybe we should take Jay here into one of these classrooms and have a little chat.
You go. Do the others? Do you go along with this or? Yeah. Okay. So
I think that's appropriate. Yeah.
You kind of escort him into another classroom. It's another science classroom. There's no one in there. As you walk in, Audrey, you hear one of the students say, very quietly, you just barely catch it, "That's the crazy lady from the video."
Of course it is.
And you now have Jay Navarro in like the earth science classroom. There's diagrams of like, the cross sections of the earth and a diagram of a volcano and.
Oh, is it still my turn? Sorry, or are we out of the turn?
Well, we're effectively out of turns at this point, unless he decides to do something or you kick off something because you whipped out magic in full view of a bunch of people and and managed to snag him. It didn't turn into a long chase sequence. So, however the group of you wants to proceed. Now we're not in turns.
Once we get in there, I'm gonna kind of pull Val aside, and I'll be like, "How? You were behind me, and then you were in front of me."
Let's not get too tied up in strange things right now. Focus, Jay, kid, focus.
Right.
Jay is struggling against Charles and not transforming, but like, have we all seen Endgame? When Banner tries to change into the Hulk and there's like the little moments of like the Hulk starts to come out and then it goes away, like his muscles kind of cord up. He doesn't turn green or anything, but he like you see like these like subtle physical changes start to happen, but then kind of subside, like they can't quite continue. As you're kind of got him wrapped up, Charles.
Now, Jay, we're all friends here. We just want to have a little friendly chat, and then we'll let you go. Sound like a deal?
That sounds so threatening.
I'm subtly taking a video of his transformation. Like I'm focusing on it. I'm not sharing it. I'm just saving it to my own phone.
And
I think Audrey. Oh, go ahead.
He says he sees you doing this and he's like, "Stop that." And he takes it as a cue to try. He like starts to breathe deeply and try to.
There we go.
I'm just going to stand in front of the door to block the door back out.
I think Audrey's going like full mom on him
Calms
now.
down. All right.
And it's going to be like, "All right, young man, now listen up. You're going to answer our questions and you're going to answer them honestly, okay? That's all we want to know is the truth. And so any deviation from that is just going to be worse for you. Now, in your own words, talk us through what happened last night."
Give me a charm check. and give yourself advantage for mom voice because he totally catches that coming off of you. And as big and tough as he thinks he is as a football player,
Vulnerability.
yeah, this still gets him. Like, you probably know his mom or his dad, and
Remember to mention that you're not mad, you're just disappointed.
yeah, there you go.
I got a 6 actually, so I got a hit.
Okay. It says he told me that he could help me get back to first string, and that like he had like this steroid thing that would help. I mean, like, football's all I got. I suck at school. I'm terrible. I'm barely passing nearly every class.
Okay, we'll come back to the steroid in a minute. Who is he? Who is the person who gave you this?
Charm check, target number 6. And you don't get advantage on this. He is highly resistant to that particular question.
I actually did. I got a 6 on this.
Oh! Mark Spirit for both of those successes. It says, where did I write it? I'll make sure I wrote it down. He says it very quietly. Mr. Gallagher, you got to promise me you're not going to get him in trouble. I mean, he was just trying to help me. It's just like the guy gets picked on all the time. Like, people treat him like crap, and that's no good. I mean, I was just nice to him, and so he was trying to help me. Just please don't get him in trouble. Don't tell the principal. Don't bring in the cops or anything. Please, 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 please. And he actually he doesn't cry, but he starts to break down a little bit. And there's like, the lower lip quiver that's starting. Like, if you press the right button, you could make him bawl at this point, but he's not quite there. But he's clearly very, he's very concerned. Now, that said, anybody who wants to can make a mind check versus a target number 5 to determine whether or not this is all a load of bullcrap that he's feeding you.
I would love
whether it be the words or the acting of fear and all that sort of thing.
Mine's my strongest, so I'm going to do that.
I got a 2 and a 5. What was it again?
Target number 5.
Ooh, 1 hit.
Oh, I failed.
If it was a target number 4, I would have had 2.
failed
But
too.
unfortunately, I failed.
How about let's do this now that I think about it. It's a good way to handle this. When we make checks, especially when there's people making multiple people at the same time, hold up with your fingers the number of the number of successes, number of hits you get until everybody's holding it up. So that way I can kind of scan real quick and see. You got 0, 0, 0, and what? You got 1, right? Shireen?
I got 1. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Marcus Spirit. Yeah, like the rest of you are just kind of going along with whatever you're saying. Shireen, he's like, you get the feeling that he is genuinely concerned about this guy. Having just graduated, and actually, Audrey, as well. Mr. Gallagher is the janitor.
I was literally about to in character ask, who's Mr. Gallagher?
He's kind of middle-aged, kind of got a paunch. He's just one of these guys he's been a janitor at the school for a while. He's harmless. He's nice enough guy. Like, he does his job, and the staff and everybody seems to like him. But how kids are, they treat him kind of, they talk about him behind his back, and they remark about how he, like, he's just a janitor. It's all that crap. And Branwen, given that your time here too, that whether you befriended him or not, this is up to you. But he does, it's not a reputation that's known well among the students, but some students kind of pick up on it. That he's remarkably kind, and has come to the aid on occasion of people of students who are kind of the students who are looked down on, like the geeky ones, the uncoordinated ones, the unpopular. When they're getting picked on, like he steps in and gets people to knock it off. And so the the popular kids and the tough kids and everybody that like is picking on these kids, like nobody ever picks a fight with him or anything like that. They might yell at him and say stuff, but that he's got like this incredibly thick skin about it, and he doesn't like if any kid ever actually tried something, they're going to get in trouble, and he knows that. And so like the kids say stuff about him behind his back, and it seems to just run off of him because he knows that like he's just looking out for some of the kids that kind of get treated the same way he gets treated.
Yeah. I think Bronwyn was very much like one of those sort of middle kids, like not necessarily picked on, but not necessarily popular, just sort of somewhere in the middle. So she probably would have noticed this and would have maybe been, polite to him or whatever, but I don't think she would know him particularly well. So maybe she'd just be like, I mean, he just seems so nice. Why would he give you... Well, maybe he thought it was going to help. He's the janitor.
The janitor? You mean the one the kid outside said was sick today?
Yeah.
Sick. Have we all forgotten last night? Because I don't think we have. Does anyone else want to make a wild guess as to what it was that we were struggling against? Anyone? Yeah. I thought so.
Jay, what do you remember about last night when you took the steroid?
He gave me the vial. I drank it, and like it made me sick to my stomach. Like I was throwing up, and then like I have this foggy memory of running around town and like getting into a fight, and then like I woke up in an alley. And oh my God, oh jeez, was that him? He poured that crap down my throat.
I
was
don't
that
know.
Was that him with the face and the?
I don't know.
And he starts to freak out, like he's remembering. In the alley, and he's like, and he just keeps repeating, was that him? Was that Mr. Gallagher?
Jay, deep breath.
And he starts, he's getting really riled up, and the cords, the muscles are starting to stand out again.
Jay, I need you to look at me.
Real quick.
Focus.
He ran from us. I'm wondering if he recognizes us in his other form, and if this is going to be a problem in a minute here.
Craig, I have a quick game question. So I just reached the full skill,
filled up your skill track. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Am I able to do an advancement mid-game, or does it need to be between games?
Absolutely, if you'd like to. You can keep track of it, and just, if you haven't decided on something, you can always do it in between sessions. But if you know what you want to do, you can go ahead and you basically uncheck all those boxes, and you gain one advancement, and you can increase any one of your traits by 1 to a maximum of 4. You can select, go ahead and check the other 2 specialties that you haven't taken already. Or you can gain a talent. There's also those templates that I sent you, and you could pick up one of those templates. If you've got something in mind, I would be happy to see. Me personally, I would like, from a playtesting point of view, I would like to see talents and templates playtested more. But
Yeah,
but if you really feel that like you've got a 1 in a trait and you really want to get it up to 2, I won't blame you.
No, it's cool. I know exactly what I want to do. I'd like to add the talent, push those buttons.
Okay.
Spend a spirit to incite a specific emotion in a person who can hear me.
Okay.
So I want to come kind of like out of angry mom voice to comforting mom voice.
Oh.
And I want to spend a spirit to help him calm down.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
Sure. So you spend all your skill, you gain that talent, and you turn into calm mom. And or at least in this instance, because that's the emotion you want to instill. Spend a spirit, and you get him to he starts to calm down, and the muscle flexing and tightening trails off. But he looks like I don't know if any of your probably at least one character has experienced this or has at least known someone who has gone through it, and so has heard people tell stories, and you get the sense that that all of this has been very traumatic to him, and that he is going to very possibly have nightmares, and very possibly he might find himself needing to talk to somebody about this, or like this is something that he seems like it's messing him up a little bit. So there's some real anxiety that you've staved off, and his anxiety is tied to turning into a monster, so that's good. But there's certainly there's lasting effects, and he has that look in his eyes like oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my
Once
god.
he settles down a bit, I'll ask him maybe hoping this is on a different subject. Do you know that website, that weird one that was like graffitied over there?
The website?
Like, do you need a password or something?
Oh, that evil fucking thing.
Yeah. Is that just like a joke or whatever?
I guess. I think so. I mean, rumor has it somebody like somebody in town, or maybe even one of the students, made it. I'm not sure how like how deep it goes or what else. I've looked around it a little bit, and yeah, there's some weird ass conspiracy stuff in there.
Oh, it's like conspiracy. Okay, yeah. Is it funny? Is it like funny stuff? Or
No,
is it
it's
just...
never funny.
Oh,
yeah, that's why I didn't really do much with it. It was weird and creepy, to be honest.
How did you get on there? Did someone give you a username and password, or?
Well, I asked around a bunch about that, and everybody just kind of smiled. If they knew anything, like a lot of people didn't really know anything, but one night I was bored, and I was just fiddling around with it and everything, and I went and I put the cursor all over the place, looking to see if there was like something hidden, if there was a link that was buried somewhere, to try to figure out how to make an account, or and I tried. I used my school password, my class schedule school account login and password, and that didn't do anything. And I tried a couple other ones, and then I just put my name in, and I put in a password, and it let me in.
Oh, okay. Do you want to try it?
No, I'm not.
No, are you crazy?
That site's
I don't think
fucked
any
Charles
of
does
us
it
try.
on his phone. He just does it.
While you're having an
now I
argument,
won't
Charles is
do
like,
it.
"Wee!
And I turn around and I'm like, Val, I'm
Evil
not gonna do it.
website!
I'm gonna go there
Woohoo!"
on my web. It's okay.
Well,
I'm going there on my computer. And
there
I'm
was a
like,
bunch. When you mentioned conspiracies, there's something that Charles is wanting to know more about on there, and so he's just like, well, I mean, maybe.
Okay.
So
I
he
got
enters
it.
his
I
name,
see you trying to do this,
creates a
Charles.
password,
Or
and
am I
hits
too
the button.
distracted by Bronwyn? What do you think, Charles? Could I notice?
I would be if I noticed he was doing that, I would be trying to.
Well, he's gonna have the phone just make it look like he's texting.
Well, here's the thing, Charles. You decide. Are you doing this surreptitiously? Everybody's been, we've got multiple characters that are kind of talking to, like we can put a check to it. We can, do you keep other people from looking?
Well, I
Yes.
mean, I'm also willing to say that Brownwind's got me distracted enough,
Okay.
like that's willing, I would stop you if I knew, but it looks like I don't know. So
Yeah, I'm trying to look inconspicuous. I'm not trying to draw attention to myself as I do this.
So you Homer Simpson yourself back into the hedge and promptly bring up the website, go to your history,
Yep.
click it back up. Okay. You type in your name, and you just make up a password.
Yes.
Okay, you type in your name, you make up a password. For the briefest second, just long enough for you to register and read it, and then it disappears. The box where you typed in your name says, "No, you aren't," and then it goes back to asking you for your name and your password.
He types his real name into as his username.
And you type in a password. You just
And
make up a password.
He gets like this weird little grin and nods his head after he gets that message. He's like, okay.
Okay.
And
you type in a password. You put in your name. You type in a password. The website opens. You immediately mark one condition on the emotional track.
okay.
As you get a flicker on the screen of you. It's actually you, but doing something that you've never, you have no memory of this. There's a brief flicker of you being torn to pieces by that thing that you fought in the alleyway last night, and then that's off the screen, and then there's this screen with all these macabre images and hyperlinks to and it's kind of the website is filled with links and images all concerning. It's it's strongly kind of occult stuff, but then also just stuff that reads more like just weird conspiracy theories. A number of the things, a number of the links refer to events that have happened in the town of Nowhereville's past, like the explosion at the paper mill in the machine room when one of the machines just blew up and threw pieces of itself everywhere and killed a half a dozen people. That happened this is just a town a thing that people know about, that you don't necessarily know the details, but it happened 30 years ago. And there's a couple of other things like that where there's these events that have happened in the town's history where there was a great tragedy.
Is there any mention of the Matthews murders?
Refresh my. Oh, that's the. Go ahead and tell everybody, because we do have an audience.
The Matthews murders.
Everybody else, players, ignorance.
The reason that he is an orphan is because his father murdered his mother. And
okay, at the right there on the homepage, no specific the word Matthews is not there anywhere, but there's there's a link for town history, and then there's it takes you to a page, and it looks like there's just a long scroll of all sorts of stuff.
It's probably at this moment that he realizes that he's probably been doing this for a little too long, and so he closes out.
Meanwhile, the group of you have gotten Jay under control. He's calmed down, and calm enough that you can actually ask questions again. And he's not just oh my God, was that him? Anymore. So if you have anything else you want to talk to him about, now's your chance before he hulks out on you again.
Spoiler alert.
If he's gonna, who knows? We'll see. That's the great thing about RPGs. I don't even know right now.
Does he know? Do you know, Jay, where we could find Mr. Gallagher besides through the school here?
Well, I mean, he's got an office, and there's the supply rooms, but he's sick today, I think, right? That's what people have said. I haven't seen him. Not since yesterday.
Yeah. Have you seen him outside of school at all? Is what I mean.
mean, once in a while, he's at football games. You know, and it's a small town. You bump into somebody. I haven't hung around with him, if that's what you're asking. Like, he's not like that. You don't think, like, he's not like that.
No, that's not what I'm thinking at all. Don't worry. How much of the steroid did he give you? Do you have extra? Do you have any more of it? Because I think
No.
we are all realizing it's a bad idea to take that now.
Yeah, clearly. No, we just tried that once, like to see how it, like he wanted to see how it would work and whether it would, you know, help me. And like, well, you know, then last night happened. So I don't have any.
Do you know if there are any other kids in the school here that he was offering the steroid to?
Not specifically. Like I wasn't there for anything, or I didn't overhear anything or anything like that. But there's, like, you know, there's a few kids that he's, you know, like nice to and helps, like, make sure that they're not getting pushed around and bullied.
She's gonna whip out a little notepad and like, can you let me know their names just in case, and we can check up on them, make sure they're feeling okay.
Oh, geez. And he gives you like 2 first names, 1 description, because he doesn't have a name at all, and then he's like, and then like super thick glasses kid, who's got, like, you know, dark hair, but he's got like really thick like burn up the house thick glasses. Like he's a, you know, he's a high school freshman or a high school sophomore. He doesn't know who the freshmen and sophomores are necessarily.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he doesn't have any last name. Everybody that he names is like is like just first names or descriptions. Like, so you would imagine that if they were in his class, he would know the name. He would know the full name because he's had classes with them. And possibly with juniors as well. But like, yeah, he just gives you first names. He doesn't know the geek crowd. Not his people. Doesn't hang with them on the weekends. None of the nerds come over and get drunk.
Jay, I also want to get your no, you have a phone, right? I'm sure. A cell phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can let me give you my number, and she's gonna rip off a piece of thing, and she wants to give it to him. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling like not yourself, I want you to shoot me a text, okay?
Okay.
Or if you see anything weird, like, you know, like last night, without going into it, but if anything like that happens again, I want you to text me, okay?
Okay. Can I go?
For that, I'm gonna actually look over to Charles.
You're muted.
Charles is like, yeah.
Charles missed most of that conversation.
He did. Charles is just like, yeah. I'm sure that's, that's fine.
I'm still standing in front of the door with my arms crossed, and I'm now starting to give Charles kind of a suspicious look, but then I just shake
Charles
my head.
is a little paler than he was a few moments ago. Like he seems a little stricken.
So I'm gonna I'm giving him a little bit of an eyebrow at that, but then hearing that everyone else seems okay with letting Jay go, I'm gonna step aside and, you know, not block Jay any further from leaving if he wishes.
He like kind of slowly makes his way out, like almost like with every step he's asking the question, like, can I go? Like, he slowly kind of just makes his way out, gets over to the door. Ma'am?
Yeah, you can go. But just remember, let us know if anything like that weird shit happens again. And also let us know if you see Mr. Gallagher, so we can check on him. And I get out of the way.
and he leaves. Like boom, without any more words, he's out.
I have a slight concern that the chemistry teacher that we were talking to and just kind of bailed on is going to be looking for us any minute now. Does anyone want to have a cover ready just in case she wonders why we accosted one of the students, considering we didn't tell her anything?
I'll go back. Yeah, I'll go back and tell her that that was a student that we'd seen with. We thought we'd seen the chemicals, and we just wanted to ask if he knew anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna ask her if she knows anything about the janitor.
Well, the first thing she asks is, well, did he?
Kind of.
Well, we need to tell the superintendent and the principal.
Really? You think so? I don't know.
Well,
I don't
okay.
think he stole the stuff. I think
No,
he maybe
no.
knows who stole the stuff. So we
Yeah.
need to work through our leads. And once we have something concrete that we can tell you, we'll let you know right away.
she looks at all of you non-police investigators and says, okay.
I'll be sure to let
And just starts, like you interrupted her in the midst of like starting to clean all that stuff up again. Put the chemicals and wash up, clean out the counter and at the hood and all that stuff. So she continues doing that.
Yeah, sorry. It's just, we just sort of came across this, and I just feel responsible, I guess.
civic duty is admirable.
If nobody else has anything to discuss with the teacher, off you go. And so then it becomes a question of what's up next. Now it's got, it's like dinner time. It's getting on toward evening of this next day. Does anybody have anything up their sleeve that they want to do, or do we kind of roll forward? Okay, what do you got?
I have something up my sleeve. So as we're leaving the school, I'm very specifically waiting till we're done with the teacher. We're leaving the school.
Well, I don't think I want to leave the school necessarily. Like, I know it's getting on towards dinner. I need to get home and dinner for the boys, but I want to see if we can find the janitor's office before we leave and see if we can get in there and find any of this stuff around, because I don't want it sitting out. So, I don't know if this interferes with what you're planning, Val, or not. But
I don't think it interferes. Rather than what I'm doing being as we're literally leaving the school, I can have it be perhaps more if you are saying that you want to do that and starting to lead. Basically, all I'm really going to do is I'm going to do the whole kind of gently, but with the strength of like, I mean it. Take Charles by the elbow as we're walking along and just kind of hold him back, and softly enough that I'm trying not to be heard by the other two, just mutter, "Hold on, we need to talk."
Sure. What's up?
I'm looking to make sure that Audrey and Branwyn are still moving forward. I'm trying to not be overheard here. Okay.
Yeah, they like.
Mm-hmm.
Audrey mentions wanting to take a look at the office. Like, Branwyn, does that pique your interest?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I want to find out.
So off they go, and you know where that office is. So off
Yeah.
they go, and you two have a moment.
Okay. Like, you got really quiet those last couple of minutes with Jay, and I realized by the way that you weren't really paying attention to us, and you look disturbed. Please tell me you didn't do something stupid, because I'm pretty sure you did something stupid.
Like what exactly?
I'm not sure yet, and that's what troubles me, because I didn't see anything, but something changed while we were talking to Jay, and since I don't think you were even hearing what he said. I don't think it was him. Now, you were over there being really quiet, and I'm really, really curious now. What were you doing?
I went to the site.
Fuck. You're an idiot.
I had to know.
All right, genius. What did you find out? Come on, spill it out with it. What's so important?
Conspiracy theories, history, like a record of all the weird things that have happened in town. Going back 30 years at least. And there's something else. I saw something. I'm not even sure if it was real or not, or maybe I was just hallucinating. But there is a video or an image of me being torn apart by Jay or one of those things last night. It wasn't. I had to know, okay? Okay? I had to know.
You have any idea what you could have set in motion? I don't even know what to do with you.
You said it yourself. This is nothing new. This has been set in motion for decades.
Yes, exactly, for the whole town, and you could have just drawn its attention onto all of us. It obviously now knows you. Whatever it is, put you. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Has it ever occurred to you why no one seems to care? Has it ever dawned on you that maybe the reason no one cares is because no one can remember?
Memory is affected by trauma. I know that much.
No, not
this.
This
worse.
is different.
I know this is different. I've seen it. I'm the one who's been telling you. I know this is different.
Something's changed. Something's different now. I can remember things that I couldn't remember before.
Then welcome to being awake, and welcome to what I've been going through for most of my life. I can't. Where did they get off to now? Janitors.
They're gone. You have no idea.
No, I know. This is just me spouting in frustration. Where did they get off? Do you know where the janitor's office is, Charles?
Yes, I know where the janitor's office is.
Cut to the two of you arrive at the janitor's office. And it's locked.
Of course.
I'm just gonna
It's for the record, it's in the basement.
Okay.
You have to,
Of course it is.
and you know that there's one door in particular that takes you down into the the school doesn't have a full basement. It's just under part of the school, and there's a few different ways down there, and one of the ways gets left unlocked by some of the kids who have befriended the janitor, and they go down there when they're supposed to be in study hall or after, during lunch or whatever. And it's a place for them to go, and they hang out, and they play games on their phone or D&D or something. They hang out in the geek club, so to speak, in one of the rooms down there. So that door you go open, you get down there. So you're kind of distanced from everything. And the janitor office is right there, but it's locked. And there's multiple storage rooms, and there, a boiler room and a mechanical room, electrical closet, all that stuff that's down here.
I'm talking to myself, and I kind of fiddling in my pockets. I'm digging through my pockets. And I'm like, oh, wait, where am I on the thing? Oh, I think I just moved out of... I moved up one from chaos. Damn it, I can't use that one. Shit.
Oh, no.
I'm just But I'm just like, I wish I could had some lock picks or something. They make it look so easy on TV.
Um, uh, yeah, actually, I'm going to use the just what I needed talent and spend a spirit, reach into your pocket and pull out just the right item for the occasion. You want to pull out some hairpins, some like bobby pins.
Sure, why not? Here we go.
Let me give it a shot. See if I can open the door. Meanwhile, I think I'm probably talking to Bronwyn, because you're pretty young and you're really, not. I think you babysat for me for a few times, but you're really not that much older than like my boys. So I think I still kind of look on you as like young a kid. So I'm gonna ask how you're holding up while I'm trying to see if I can open the door. What challenge would it be to open the door?
It's going to be it's a mind check. It's just you're knowing what to do mostly. It's for a relatively simple lock. Target number 5, we'll call it. You can't make it a 4. It is picking a lock. But you can spend spirit, and if you have a specialty or something.
Oh no, my mind's pretty good, pretty strong. I got it. I got a 6.
Okay, you pick the lock with bobby pins, because welcome to fiction, and you open up the door to the janitor's office, and it's actually like there's like this old metal desk, with a stained like full or half desk blotter on it, a metal rolling chair. There's some file cabinets in here, toolboxes, and then like a couple of sets of metal shelves with various cleaning supplies and everything. It's also kind of like partly just a storage area as well, and then mop with bucket and all that. So I imagine the group, the two of you are going to take a look around, right?
Yeah, we're probably searching it for anything unusual.
Yep. So we'll do mind checks from everybody. Target number 6, and if you have, just let me know if you have a skill or a specialty that fits.
Yeah, got a hit.
Oh, that's 2 fails.
2 fails. Okay, well that. I'm sorry. What did everybody do? I was typing something into the chat there.
I got a hit. Yeah.
Okay, you got a hit. Chris has to step away, so we're going to. He's just not finding his way down there. He doesn't know where the. He leads Valerie on a wild goose chase throughout the school. You go digging around, and it takes a while. Like the pair of you like look through the whole office. You spend a time, you're looking through all the shelves and looking at all the drawers, in the waste paper basket, behind the desk, all this kind of stuff. And eventually you find that there's a toolbox that normally it's got a clasp on the front and normally has a lock on it, but the lock has the lock looks closed, and then you go to pull it, and if you ever had a lock that's kind of rusty and old, you can click it up so it looks closed, but it never actually catches. So you grab the lock and you're like, damn it, and you pull the lock like in frustration, and it just pops open. And you're like, oh, and you open the toolbox up, and inside are multiple plastic bottles of some powders and some like pebble type, and a couple of jars of liquid, and these all look like chemicals that were taken. You got to look inside the chemistry storage room. Like this looks like that kind of stuff. It looks like.
Oh, it looks like he stole this stuff.
And you hear like you're in your head, you hear the the chemistry teacher listing, like when she listed off the names of the chemicals, and you don't remember them all, but like one or two stuck in your head as being kind of weird sounding, and like there they are.
Yeah, this is it. This is like everything that was stolen.
And there's a box, cardboard box of, it's got a picture on the front of glass. It says like glass vials, secure lids, da da da. And you know how big that vial was that you held, that you have. You technically still have it. This box holds a dozen vials. And there are no vials in it.
Oh no.
This is not good.
We should maybe bring the chemicals back at least.
Okay. You can do that. She asks, Miss Armstrong asks, like, where did you get these? Well, you know what? You spent a bunch of time down there. She's gone. She's left.
Okay, then
she's left for the day. She's locked up and left.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should hold on to this and like figure out what we're going to do with it. Yeah. So just so he doesn't have it, at least. Can't make more.
I agree. We can't leave it here.
Okay, so the two of you, yeah, sure, you take that, you replace everything, put it all back the way. I'm going to have you each make a mind check to put everything back the way it was, if that's what you want to try to do. Target number 4, because it was fairly organized.
Except for the box of stuff.
Well, right, but you can close the lid back up, put the lock back on, close all the drawers, put stuff back on the shelves where it goes. Like,
What was it? Sorry.
What to do?
What's that?
What was the target?
Target number 4.
All right.
To make it kind of, it wasn't super messy, so it's relatively easy to kind of remember how to put it all back together. Charles, you're not there.
I got 2 successes.
Okay.
You had to step away, so we had you just wander and lead Valerie on a wild goose chase. Okay, so yeah, you put it all back. You're pretty sure you put it all back exactly how it was, and you're super sure that you did that with 2 successes. Until he goes into the toolbox, nothing's going to look out of the ordinary. And off you go. So you can go back upstairs, find I'm. Do Valerie and Charles? Do you hang around, because they went down and they were gone for a little while because it took them a while to search this place. Like, do you guys just say screw it and go home or leave, or do you hang around?
We're wandering around a high school, after hours, lost. I can imagine that after some of this time, it's going to start getting dark outside.
Yeah, you get shooed out.
I was going to say,
that happens too.
Yeah, like after a little while of wandering around and not being able to find where Branwen and Audrey have gone off to, I am just going to be like, you know what? We seem to be lost. I'd like to get out of here, if it's all the same to you, Charles.
All right.
And
you head out. The other 2 of you, Audrey and Branwen, you head out. You're able to slip out of the school before the security person comes around and kind of closes everything up. Like, does the walkthrough, checks to make sure everybody's gone, and then is going to close up. And people go on about dinner, go home, You've got your text chain, so the group can still communicate. When you Audrey, when you get home, the kids, you're like, oh boy, like, you're seriously behind schedule for getting dinner for the boys. And you get home, and what was the younger kid's name again? Joe?
Ben is the younger one.
Ben's the younger one. Sorry, Joe. So Joe, the older one. Just the other one. Joe is or hold it. Say that again. Ben's the younger one. Right?
Yeah, Ben. He's like.
Okay, so Ben. Right. Ben is in the dining room with struggling over homework that you were supposed to help. We didn't finish it last night, and he's looking really despondent. He's worried. He's like, "Mom, we got to go through this. What's for dinner?" like it shifts gears immediately from I've got to finish this to like, where have you been? What are we having? And you ask him, where's your brother? He's like, I have no idea. I've been working on this. You go looking into the room, and do they share a room? Single mother, maybe only a 2-bedroom place.
Yeah, although I feel like my husband
Maybe not.
probably pays child support.
Okay, sure. So okay, you go into Joe's room, and his backpack is there, and some books are thrown. Like, it's a little messy. There's some stuff kind of thrown around the floor. He left the window open again. The computer is turned on. And he's notorious for not putting like the screensaver to kick in, so it's like it's just on, like it's burning that image into the screen. And you're like, oh geez, you go over and turn the monitor off real quick. And when you get to the computer, you look into the wastebasket next to it, and there is an empty vial with no lid, and that is where I'm ending tonight's game.
Done.
Today's game.
I even had a thing.
So that is where we're gonna we'll see what happens next week. Does anybody have anything they want to share and talk about as far as the game? Like we instituted like this, I've got a story track thing that I'm doing that you're not really privy to, but the kid, I hit a point on the story track where a milestone gets hit, and that means I need to escalate things, and I just did. So that was what that was. So you understand kind of where that came from. Like, it's a way for me it reminds me, like, every so often, let's do something that like ups the ante. We of course didn't use anything with an impact point yet because we haven't really had a chance to. So some of that new stuff hasn't really come into play. But if you have anything else, let me get. Before people start talking, play testing, let me get a. Oh, come on. Let me open up something that I can type into, because I'm a typer. All right, go. What do you got? Anything interesting you want to... And you don't have to, like whatever.
Can't think of anything off the top of my head.
We did hit skill, filled up a skill track for at least one person, right? Did anybody else fill up and just didn't get around to picking something, or not yet?
I've got 2 boxes left to fill on my skill track, and I'll have an advancement.
Okay.
Oh wait, what did we? And we started with how many skill boxes are there to begin with?
Our track is only 5 long.
Okay.
On the sheet, it's 10
yes.
long.
Okay.
But for the purposes of this game, we're pushing for advancement faster with only 5.
Okay.
To fill up.
That's good. I got it.
Yeah, I didn't really do anything unusual today. I mean, I did get my chaos power, so I guess in some way it was neat to see how, in this case, something supernatural would work out.
That was awesome.
It was, and we didn't.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I was and I knew I might have to address it, especially with the chemistry teacher, but then she left. And so I didn't have to worry about that. And I was able to put you off. And it's like, sooner or later, I know I may have to talk about that, but it's like, it was still neat to do something kind of supernatural in our own team. And most of what I enjoyed most about like today's session was mostly the role playing, which isn't really part of the system, but the system is, like, I think that
I would argue that it is. Role-playing is definitely part of the system.
Well, okay, but what I mean is that me, shouting at Charles and becoming part of the crazy lady in a viral video is not technically part of the mechanics and the rules.
No, I tend not to involve making skill checks, trait checks or whatever for inter-party anything, unless it's like open conflict, like
Exactly.
where it could become like really serious. This was just a role-playing shouting match.
Yeah. So basically, it's not like I did anything unusual in the system today, but just overall, I think it was a good day, and I think overall, I like the abilities that I've got as the Forgotten. I think that's obviously why I chose the playbook in the first place. But in particular, we were talking a little bit before the stream about how I've built my character to not even really use spirit that much directly, because of all the talents that say spin to spirit are the ones I didn't take. So it's kind of, I didn't originally set out to create a character that would test what it's like when you don't use spirit as a common, resource. And I guess just showing it's working. At least that's the way it seems to me.
I don't have a lot of that either.
If you gain a lot of spirit, you've got a way to then pump that into, because we added translating 2 spirit into 1 skill, so that becomes a way that you can progress your character a little faster if you're lucky enough to be rolling and getting a lot of, like, if you're being successful a lot rather than failing a lot, you can turn that extra spirit into skill, which helps, because if you're not failing, you're not gaining skill, so you're not progressing your character, at least not in that way. There's other ways to progress your character. Moving up and down the sway track is a way to progress your character. How do people feel about like the talents that you have? You've used some of them? Do you feel is there anything that and I understand that. Let me put a caveat in front of it. Like there's talents that people could potentially take that might not come into play all that often. The talents are not supposed to be. They're not spell slots, like where you're going to be like, I'm going to use this in every single game session. No. But like people feel like they're getting something cool out of their talents. Do you feel like you're getting, like, the sway track is interesting because it allows you to kind of like, well, I can spend some time kind of like when I succeed really well, I can move toward getting to this thing. It worked out, like it seems like it worked out nicely where Ando suddenly got access to something that came in very handy in the moment. That was cool. But then we also had Shireen, who was like, oh crap, I just moved out of the spot where it would be really cool, that's kind of what I'm hoping to go for, is that it becomes this constant little struggle. It's something that you will play with like from session to session as you try to figure out how to keep your, like, if you really want to have yourself on this spot, you want to try to spend spirit so that you don't move out of it.
I do have a quick question about one of my talents. It's one I haven't used yet, and the wording of it, I'm not sure mechanically what the purpose of it is. So I've got Underbelly Dweller. I gain advantage to overcome fears and help others overcome fears. And I understand that fears are the mechanical things that we've decided our characters have legit big fears of, but like, what does overcoming that really mean mechanically?
When you are affected by your fear, you at the very least you suffer disadvantage. So that talent will help to get out from underneath disadvantage. And the normal way that you would get out from underneath that disadvantage, at least temporarily, is by facing the fear, by actually like confronting, doing, you're afraid of the dark, so you stay in the dark when you do, to fight the monster. You don't try to run out to the light, and you just deal with the fact that you're in the dark, and you suck it up and you take disadvantage for a while. But then you kind of come out of that and you feel, okay, I feel better about that. You get out from underneath disadvantage at maybe at a crucial point in the fight, right? And that help, like in the moment, whereas like that talent circumvents that quickly. Like if you need somebody to be functioning on full dice right now, you can help you can drag yourself out of that or help somebody else get out of that. The effects of fears might be other things too. There might be role-playing oriented stuff, like a player may decide that their character is not going into that dark basement, period, and now that's a problem for the whole group. And if you've got that talent, you can assuage that and help them overcome their fear temporarily to go into that dark basement now. This time anyway, until the fear crops back up, because these are like recurring things that will plague your character throughout the campaign. And that said, there may become a point where you may decide my character has overcome that fear, and we can just remove that fear and give your character a different fear, perhaps one based on something you've faced. in the campaign. Your characters will always have fears. That's Nowhereville does that to you. I just I made the mistake here of not I just didn't even look at the fears anybody's fears in this game.
Yeah, I know what mine are though.
I need to try to use them more often. What I think I might do is, and I'll throw it into the Discord chat that we got with everybody. Everybody has one fear that's like an animal. That I don't know that I would find a decent way to incorporate some of those. Maybe we find something other than that particular animal that gives me more options to work from. Their thing. Now that you've seen the game in action, like I don't think I'm going to necessarily run into that animal. And even though it could be perfectly reasonable for my character to have this weird, irrational fear of this thing, but now that you've seen kind of like the way I'm running the game and what it kind of feels like, maybe you've got a better idea for a fear that will be more interesting. Feel free to make that switch and just let me know. Is there anything that feels like it's getting in the way of the fun? Like things are rocking along, you're having a good time, you're making checks, we're playing the game, we're role-playing, I'm revealing stuff, you're overcoming challenges, and then all of a sudden something kind of like throws a hiccup, like, slows things down or becomes complicated or confusing.
Only my own lack of being good at improving conversation, especially arguments. I know that my argument with Charles was not very coherent, and I'm only rolling with that because Valerie's not very coherent. But that's not your fault or the game's fault.
Sure. And for any of these questions that I have, you're welcome, of course, if like something strikes you, 2 days from now, you're like, oh, wait, I've got a perfect example of something. I'm kind of putting people on the spot. By all means, chime in later on too.
Nothing's coming to mind.
Okay. Thematically, now that we've played a couple sessions, do you feel like you're getting a sense, like, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Stephen King stories. And an RPG isn't going to really necessarily feel just like a Stephen King story, but are you getting a sense of some of like his Castle Rock stories with the small towns and the people who know each other and the weird stuff going on? Does that seem to be coming through? And if not, what do you think is missing? Like, what's a thing that, like, this is a Stephen King thing that I really would love to see come out more? It might just be something that I need to inject into the story, that I need to make sure I discuss in the rule book. And thinking of, like, even if you haven't read the books, maybe you've seen some of the movies, even some of the bad ones. There's some of them that are not that great as far as telling the story, but they still maybe do have that Stephen King feel of small town horror. Okay.
I think you've done a pretty good job of capturing the sort of feel of like the gradual build up of the dread and the danger, until I would assume eventually we're going to confront whatever the thing is, and have to deal with it one way or the other, whether that means we defeat it or it kills a bunch of us. Because in Stephen King books, there's really no two ways about it. Either, you defeat the bad thing or a bunch of people die. And I'm sure a bunch of people will probably die.
Sometimes, sometimes both.
Sometimes it's both, yeah.
Yeah, and for the record, too, just because we threw it out there, we've got somebody with a condition. That doesn't go away until, like, between sessions.
Oh, wow.
You can double check the rules. I might have something in there regarding and it's supposed to be like this is a horror story, like
right.
In the version of the rules for Good Strong Hands, like that game is built around killing characters should be actually kind of difficult. The more so like they're healing, there's capabilities, there's powers that give healing, and there's just a general rule. There might be a general rule in there for like being able to do one thing, heal one time. But like if you were to gain a bunch of conditions, you're not going to be able to like remove them all during the course of that game session. You'll get better in between stories. But yeah, I mean, I'd like literally like, characters get injured in horror stories, and they have to finish the story with whatever that injury or whatever that emotional state is. Like they're, it screws with them for a
It
while.
it looks like, from what I can see of the rules, it looks like you can remove your worst condition from one track by spending 2 skill and having your character patch up their wounds or calm their fears.
Okay, so there's a cost. Right.
Yeah,
you
there's
can
a
do that now.
cost. It costs. You progress more slowly. So the question for me then is, I have to
Right.
decide: do I want to progress more quickly, or do I want to heal?
And just eat it for the time being and just deal with the right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the
Which I'm
things
thinking
that
in this instance, I think it's more narratively interesting for me to just eat it for now.
and if you get deep
under
into
the
the
condition.
penalties, if you get deep into penalties, then you can at least, you can, okay, well, now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of one of those just to reduce, make it less problematic for me. But like right now, you don't even have a penalty. It's just a role-playing thing. Like you just have to play your character as being kind of unsettled and a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're in pretty good shape. I think we can call that a discussion. As I said, anytime you've got anything else you want to offer up, feel free to do so. I think that's the game session, everybody. If anybody has anything that they are doing online that they want to advertise, now is the time to do it. Raise your hand. Or you can just say, what do you got, Val? Or sorry, Ando. It says Valerie on the screen.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. That's fine. So I, of course, have my my horror drama podcast called Shadows of a Dark Past. And you can find me at podchaser.com/SOADP podcast. And that would be massively appreciated.
Go listen to a Dark Shadows style radio play audio drama podcast.
First
thing.
season's almost done. There's only going to be one, like the finale is the first season 1 finale is the next thing that's coming out, and it should be.
So go
awesome.
binge it.
Yes, do it.
Anybody else? Otherwise, I am Craig Campbell of Nerdburger Games. This was Nowhereville. It is a game that is in progress. This is the playtest that you're seeing happen live. I think for the next session, we're going to see some advancements for characters just for the sake of getting to these things in playtest, even if you haven't hit, including, I think we're going to, if hopefully a couple of you are up for delving into the supernatural stuff, because Stephen King stories sometimes have characters that can do fancy supernatural things. So in the next session, we can expect to see all of that fun stuff. That's the show, everybody. Bye.